It is said that a picture speaks 1,000 words. The Mona Lisa or the Last Supper. Art has been used as a form of expression and communication, and whether abstract, contemporary, or Renaissance, art is a beauty to behold. In Zambia, art is a largely underappreciated and novice industry, with artists being relatively unknown on the local and international scene. Little can be said about the business side of art or how much artists and gallery owners make. We meet two people in two different locations, working towards the same goal of making art a well-known and profitable industry for themselves and the artists they work with. Our journey starts in Lusaka City, where we meet Candice Rogoff, who owns the Small Works Art Gallery and Paint Shop.
I'm South African. I moved to Zambia in 2010. Before that, I had a business manufacturing ornaments for feng shui, so it was all the Chinese ornaments. So I actually manufactured all the ornaments, so I took copies of the Chinese ornaments and I sold them through trade exhibitions in South Africa. I got into a lot of retail outlets, even coming up as far as Zambia back in the day. This was in the 90s and 2000s. And yeah, then when I had children, I sort of cut back on work and I sort of focused on being a mum. And then shortly after that, we came to Zambia. So 2011, I bought an existing little art supply shop. The lady only ran it for 2 years and she just wanted to leave Zambia. So I actually took over the business. And essentially I was just selling imported art supplies. And my first little sort of shop space was 3 meters by 3 meters. In 2016, I actually moved to this venue. So I was in another venue previously in my 3x3 space. July 2016, I moved here, so I've been here for now 8 years. And when I came, I was quite depressed because I was just selling art supplies and I just felt pointless. And I just sort of lacked all the artworks. And in the last space, my landlord had a gallery, so it actually, the whole place actually worked. So in this space, at the end of 2016, I decided to start an art gallery. And I obviously did a call to all the artists on social media. I just took in any art. So it was a bit silly, but it was also a start and a good learning curve as to what I do want in the gallery and what I definitely don't want in the gallery. So my Jagger brand started as a COVID-19 inspired project. As for about 3 months, we just couldn't import, and in fact it extended into maybe 6 months to 8 months. My suppliers were being let down by their suppliers. 2020, realised, oh my gosh, we're running out of paint. I went and sat with the paint houses here to get a basic formula together. I then sat with chemists in Johannesburg to tweak my formula, and we've sort of got it to a level now that's pretty good. And the name Jagger comes from my children's name. My daughter's name is Jade, so that's the J-A, and then my son's name is Gabriel, so that's the G-A. So that's how Jagger came about. Manufacturing artists, paints and mediums locally in Zambia is quite a wonderful thing to do, and I'm very, very proud of the project, and I hope it goes from strength to strength. The art shop also provides a picture framing service, which we started in 2017. So as you've noticed, I'm now organically growing from art supplies, gallery, picture framing, and manufacturing of artist paints. The picture framing is done at my home factory. It's a 2-bedroom cottage that has been converted into the framing studio. The challenges have been the sort of fluctuating economy and the exchange rate. Initially, we had our first sort of major crash in the economy. I think that was 2015. I freaked out. I didn't know what to do. I thought my business was going to end. But I sort of froze, which was probably the best thing you can do in these situations where the economy and the exchange rate does its roller coaster. And then having to up your prices in order for you to be able to restock. Because if you don't up your prices, you cannot afford to restock because you're selling at a loss. And that was quite soul destroying because you don't want to up your prices, you want to be as cheap as possible. The other challenge I've incurred of late is obviously all the Chinese shops flooding Zambia and selling goods at very cheap prices. And I don't have that sort of buying power. My biggest saying at the moment is this too shall pass.
Through Candice, we meet some of the artists that she has showcased in her gallery and worked with. Though comprising a small portion of the gallery's portfolio, this group of artists are on the path of bringing recognition and popularity to the Zambian art industry, in hopes of making it a more marketable and profitable source of employment and income.
He's one of Zambian artists. He's a painter, a songwriter, a craftsman. I play guitar and sing, and then the paintings, sketch drawing with the pencil, sign writing, graphic design, etc. etc. I have 6 children, 3 boys, 3 girls. I worked here for Zambia Printing Company as a graphic designer for about 9 years. And so that was art. And when I went on early retirement, I started doing freelance sign writing, paintings on canvas, a little bit of some murals and so on.
Mwamba is a young artist based in Lusaka, Zambia. Usually she does a lot of paintings, a bit of sculptures, and also installations. She's the firstborn in the family of 5. She's a mother, she's a sister, she's a wife. When I was just starting, we used to be my young brother and me, but my young brother stopped and I went through. And currently, I think my young sister is following in my steps. She has been doing a lot of drawing and she's doing art at secondary school.
Lombe is an artist. He's a teacher, he's a father. I do art. Besides that, I teach art. These two, they help me to raise money. I'm a member of the Zambia National Arts Council. I'm the current chairperson. I've written through the process and the ladders and so on. I just became a member. I was introduced to the Arts Council and I think I got interested in what they were doing. I met people who were speaking the same language as mine. I'm also a member of the Art Teachers Association.
So I'm Linga. I'm referred like that. That's my artistic name. On my work, it goes like that. But I'm Mrs. Banda, so I'm married. And sometimes, in my artistic sense, I like to introduce myself as Banda Subilo. So being Subilo's mother is part of my definition as a female artist. Because who I am today and whatever I'm doing is because I want to inspire the next generation of females in art. So Banda Subilo and the artist. What I'm trying to say is I'm a full-time mother, full-time visual artist, and a wife, a sister, a neighbor. But for the purpose of the economy, I'm very much an artist. Whatever I do, whatever I spend my money on comes from my artworks. So I teach on Fridays. I do art lessons. Then I also do, sometimes I'm hired to do some consultancy for institutions. So I offer those in visual art studies. So everything I do is visual arts related.
Running a gallery is certainly no walk in the park. Neither is scouting for artists. Everything has to be done meticulously with careful and thorough planning to ensure that the artists scouted and paintings showcased in the gallery are not only visually appealing, but representative of the style, feel, and ambience of the gallery.
Initially, I obviously marketed on social media, and then it's just sort of snowballed because I'm in touch with the artists regularly. I would say, oh, please put your artworks in the gallery. That was in the beginning. Now, I sort of am quite established as a little gallery, and I get every day I get people asking to come and put their artworks in the gallery. We do a lot of word of mouth, I do a lot of social media marketing. But when I choose a piece of art, it has to resonate with me. So if I like it and I see something in it and something sparks inside of me, then I bring it into the gallery. Some pieces can sit here for a week and sell. Some pieces can sit here for 2 years and sell only after 2 years. And sometimes after 6 months or a year, I do tend to give it back to the artist if it hasn't sold. Every piece here in the gallery, whether it's Quentin Allen, Calvin Zangata, Lombe and Sama, there's something with their pieces that resonate with me, and that's why they're in the gallery. I don't have a favourite artist or a favourite piece. Everything here is quite special to me. I'm quite open to a lot of art, not so much craft. Like there's a lot of guys that do millet and string art. I'm not really interested in any of that unless it's super wow, but I haven't really sold any of that. It's just got to resonate with me.
And even after all the careful planning, scouting for artists, and everything else that goes into running a successful gallery, a sale still needs to happen.
We have sold internationally, but I think we're quite limited in terms of the social media marketing. I don't know, I seem to be sort of more prolific in the Zambia region. But yes, I've picked up a few sales internationally, Canada, Los Angeles, Holland, to Holland. So it's not a lot of places, but definitely got to those destinations. The most expensive piece I've sold was in the region of $5,000. With COVID, we sort of stopped doing art exhibitions and only resumed this year. So we started in April 2023. To do them too often just become a bit mundane. So, and then I'm an ongoing gallery, so I don't feel like I need to be doing art exhibitions, and it just sort of keeps people hungry. The art shop eats, breathes, and lives art.
It is all fair and profitable if paintings are shown to the world and sold, be it locally or internationally. After all, a sold painting means money in the pockets of the artist and gallery owner. But without a painting, there's no money. So where does it all start from? How does it start?
I don't want to sound the usual way someone will say, oh, I started painting when I was 5, I was 2, I was 3. I think for me, of course, the artistic signs were there when I was young, when I was growing up, when I was in secondary school. I think that's where I really came across visual arts, because I was put in an art class at St. Mary's, and I enjoyed to the point where I felt I needed to do it for a living. I didn't know any artists. I think I was just daydreaming. So when I went to high school, it changed. I was put in a pure class, because they feel, oh, you can't because of certain results. So I wasted my time studying physics and chemistry. I always want to mention that because I think it's a very big drawback in our education system, where you want to follow marks and certain smartness of a child to put them in a certain class. So you'd rather put an artistic child in a science class because they're just good at those subjects. They have certain grades, and you feel they'll become something in those fields. So I did art in grade 8 and 9. From there, I continued as a part-time thing. with some of my friends, 2-3 friends of mine, and it went up to when I was done with high school. I stayed for some years, then finally decided I was going to go to Evelyn College. So I have an art diploma from Evelyn College, and I've done other informal schools outside and within Zambia. I think the most important one is the ASIPO school that I did in Mozambique in 2015. So there I kind of did a program which summarizes the degree program of fine arts into a short space of time for African artists. So yeah, from there I've done a number of other things. I've done painting techniques at a summer school in Austria. And yeah, but for me, the learning comes from everywhere I go. I've learned a lot from other people. And because we don't have a degree program in Zambia which offers fine arts, I would say, some people would say, oh, I'm self-taught, or I don't believe in such things. You cannot be self-taught in the era of YouTube, in the era of the internet, and also when you're working close to somebody else. So it means you're just informally taught. So as an artist, I would say I'm informally taught with a diploma in art and design.
Okay, from way back as a child, growing up with my siblings, they would do drawings. Yeah, primary school, back home, find out that drawings of so they're famous footballers. So how to do those drawings, the teacher playing with friends in the compound, and find that the wire cards that I would make were outstanding. That everyone else is become a head driver. Everyone wants to drive your car. So I think from there, not realizing that I was good at creating until I reached secondary school, and I went into an art class. My art teacher, then I said, I think you have a strength in the arts. So he started encouraging me, started involving me in side hustles. At school, everyone was coming to me. So I would make posters for all the clubs, debates, scripture union, and so on, and make a little bit of I know that in college, that then it was the only institution that offered art teaching.
I would say it's a natural gift. I started doing art when I was very young, and there was this time I was at secondary school, and I went to a school trip for art, and I came across the Visual Arts Council, where I got very much interested into art, because growing up as a young child, I never had an exposure to any art form or any art centers. So that was my first encounter with the art center. So I got very much interested to join that Visual Arts Council. So from my childhood, when I was in grade 10 to 10, 11, 12, I decided to go back to Visual Arts Council after the trip that I had when I was at school, and became a member. From there, I started interacting with other artists who are already professionals, and from there, that's when my journey began, and I started learning from other artists. So I wouldn't say I've never been to any art school, but I've learned through the other artists I've met through the Visual Arts Council. Before being an artist, I used to work for Pick and Pay. I did public administration at NIPA. So when I completed, I decided to find a job, because most parents, they don't have that exposure to art. So for me, it was a bit challenging to venture into full-time art because of my mom. She was not in support for me to become an artist. So I started working for Pick and Pay as a till operator. I was doing both, working for Pick and Pay and doing art at the same time.
First and foremost, it's an inborn thing. I went to college and got a diploma. I've got working experience in graphics, and then when I was in grade 12, I was the first one to get a distinction at Kablonga Boys. From the time I was in secondary school, that's when I started painting, And I used to make money for my school, like buying books and small items.
No, I think it starts with being Mulinga Jemlinga. Then I become Mrs. Banda. And I become Anna Subilo. Then the life continues. It's not easy, first of all. There are very, very few female artists in visual arts, but also in other art disciplines. Because, of course, the society doesn't easily accept such kind of things. But also, it's a gamble. You're not guaranteed that you'll be paid. So once someone becomes a mother, they would rather go and start teaching, or go and get a job in a bank or what, a formal job where you know every month and I'll be able to get money to sustain my family. So I chose to gamble with my life, with my career, with my family's, because my family's life, at the end of the day, whatever income comes from what I'm doing affects the way my family is kind of balanced. So in between, so my working in this space already is trying to be Mrs. Banda, trying to be a mother. It's easier for me to juggle. When I wake up in the morning, my routine is almost like saying I have to prepare my daughter to go for school. When she's done for school, I clean up. When I clean up, by that time I'm done. My husband would have already left. Then the home becomes a working space. All the works that I've been producing in the last 5 years, I've been working from home.
I struggle. It's not easy. I struggle to balance out, but I try to manage somehow. You know, teaching demands a lot. Yeah, you need to be there all the time. You need to attend to this. You need to prepare for this. Now, apart from just teaching, you are also involved in other extracurricular activities with the pupils. So, you know, striking a balance to learn to art, jump a song, and so on. Yeah. Then that you're busy teaching, someone is calling. Oh, there's this. You need to do this. You need to attend this meeting. And you can't dodge from class. So with delegation, it has helped. Yeah.
At first, it used to be okay because I used to balance. I was alone. I was creating, and what I did didn't matter. So, but now because I have a child and I have a husband and I have a family, it's kind of challenging for me to balance the two. But I'm quite managing and trying and learning. I'm actually learning and trying to balance the two.
Skills and talent play a huge role in the creation of a visual masterpiece. But what happens when the artist cannot paint? When motivation is at an all-time low? When frustration keeps playing through the mind of an artist? How does an artist motivate themselves to tap into the latent skill and talent to paint again?
It's not easy being creative for me. It's not very difficult again being creative, because sometimes it can be difficult for me to create. Sometimes it's very easy for me to create. For example, if I have inspiration to create, I can paint as many paintings as I want. If I don't have inspiration, it's kind of difficult and hard to create. So it's both difficult and easy. What motivates me? I think it's just small things that motivates me. So if you see some of my paintings, there's a lot of plants. So even plants, they motivate me. Any beautiful things. Even women, being a new mom, it's something that has been challenging for me, and it's kind of influencing and inspiring me in my new works. What frustrates me a lot is like when you paint and it doesn't come out the way you imagine it to look like, and you paint it over and over. So for me, what works out, I paint 2 paintings at the same time. So when I have challenge with this one, I go over with I start painting another one. So when I have challenges with that other one, I keep them and I start another one. After some few days or some few weeks, I go back to the other one. Maybe my mind is already refreshed. Visual artists have got a block as well, because when I just got married, before I got married, I used to create a lot. And when I just got married, it's something that I had a challenge with it. And worse, when I got pregnant, I painted in times. So I took it as I had an artist block and I didn't have what to create. I didn't run out of ideas. I wanted to paint, but I felt I couldn't manage to paint. I've been pushing myself a lot. I think just by visiting a lot of exhibitions and talking to a lot of artists and getting the inspiration from other artists. The copyright process for the artwork is kind of a bit challenging because if I make copyright, I have to make copyright of each of the work that I produce. So you have to copyright each of the painting that you make. So if I make 100 of them, I have to make copyright of them.
I get inspired by what I see around, what I hear, and just how people behave, they'll stand, like especially women. When they're standing, they speak to us. When they're walking, they speak to us. I also get inspired by just the statements that people make. Breadwinner. So that will also strike you as well. What are they trying to say about a breadwinner? Yeah, there are moments when the mood is low and you're trying to more like force yourself to bring out a statement into your art. There's a point as an artist you reach in your career where your art is not just a beautiful painting on the wall. Your art should have a statement, should have content that you want to bring out an idea and make a statement with your art, and then that is not kind of, so it brings about a little bit of frustration as well. So you can actually visit and you go to another. There are times in a happy moment, just within an hour, you splash paint on canvas and your art, gives that satisfaction to you. It has to start with you as an artist. We've not reached that level in Zambia where we patent our art. Usually we just create, display, sell, and then it ends there. So the rules are not, or the guidelines are not purely or clearly defined how we're supposed to patent our artworks.
Some artists are born, some artists are made. Was Mlinga born an artist or she was made? I think both. I may have the talent, but I needed to acquire the extra skill to be, the extra skill and the language to perfect it as a career now. So even on college might have students who are just going to be made because it's a career you've studied and they are able to adapt. And some people will never even go to school, but will have the talent and thrive. So, but for the business aspect of it and academia, you would need to be made. So for me, preference comes with the inspiration at the time. I should mention I work in 3 spaces, different energies, I mean. So there's work which is inspired by the inner being. I just want to express something just wants to come out. So I don't care if someone is buying it or not, I'm just doing it for me. Then there's work that I make that I know has potential being bought. So, and I have work that I make which is for academia. It has a research purpose behind it because certain institutions won't accept the beautiful paintings that are just there for sale. They want knowledge behind the work, they want history, they want research. So when I'm doing those things, some will come in form of drawing, some will come in form of painting or sculpture. So I can't say I'm Me, I'm a jack of all trades. I'm not, if I'm painting too much and you're seeing so many of my paintings, it's because that market which you're finding me in needs, it's ready, it's for that market for me to sell. There are some people who know me as Mulinga who just do conceptual work. They have never even seen my paintings. Most of the times when I travel out, I'm showing concept-based work, which are not even these beautiful paintings with color. It's something which you have to look twice, sometimes look once and you don't want to look again because it's irritating your eyes or it's very strong. It's talking about maybe women issues, it's talking about politics, it's talking about the climate. So those kind of works may come in form of performance, photography, video, and if it's a painting, not with the bright colors or whatever it is. I don't think I would manage working in these institutions where you do the same thing every day. Like, you know you're supposed to be there by 7:30 and you drop off at 17, or whatever it is. Then you're the manager, you're the what. If you're upset, you have to pretend to be happy. If you work with people, you have to make up that face. But as an artist, all those different periods of my time might influence a different work. So when I'm sad, there's some works, very good works which have come out of sadness, where you think like, maybe I should continue being sad. Then there are some works which have come out of because they are very happy. So sometimes frustration triggers very good ideas. Already when I just produce my work, I have that what they call the artistic license. It's not a written license, first of all, but there is that which is well known that even when someone got my work from here and went and did whatever they did, the fact that it was made by me, someone made it, that person has got that artistic license. The society has to have that knowledge that this belongs to somebody else. But even when you don't have that knowledge and you abuse someone's image, ignorance, they say, has no defense, you'll still be charged. So as an artist, yes, I have my artistic license, but there are few things which I'm able to give permission. So when someone buys my work, a lot of people don't know this. When you buy an artist's work, you own the work. You don't own the image of the work. For example, if I was a brand, I was a bank, and they put it in their thing and they're doing the advert, and my work is shown, even if they bought it and I see it in an advert, I would sue them for using my image. Because they didn't buy the image. For example, there's someone who bought my work because they wanted to use it as a cover for their book. So they wanted to buy the image. After they paid for the image, they liked the work so much, they said, oh, now we're even going to buy the work. So I did a legal document, sign off my rights to that image. So I myself cannot use that image for something else. So it's a lot of self-learning, self-studies, because they're not there in our system. So there are times when you have an international client, it works, for me, I found it works better to use their laws than to use the Zambian laws because we're very much behind.
My motivation comes from women and children because they make the actual outlook of a country. If you say you come to Zambia, you see a woman in Chitenge, then you know you are in Zambia. Just like the way you go to a Muslim country and you see Muslims dressed in their attire, then you know it's a Muslim country. You can tell the poverty of a nation from a child, the way the child looks. You can tell that this country there's money in pockets or no money. I've never run out of ideas because ideas come while working on something. When we are talking, I start seeing something coming, I don't pretend or copyright because I want others to use my styles so that they also benefit from it. I want a lot of people to be doing what so that I leave them to carry on and do the other thing that I'm thinking about.
Keeping creativity flowing is a skill to master, but sometimes financial incentives, such as the sale of a painting, can be all the boost an artist needs to push them along the bump to the next painting.
It's very difficult to to quantify it. It depends on who's coming to buy with, what size. Most artworks are priceless, so it depends who's coming to do your work. And if they're interested in buying, tell them, oh, I need so much. They're ready to pay. Yeah. It's business at some point. There's a business aspect to it, attached to it. At some stage, there is a danger in making it too much of a business. This is culture. The culture cannot be commoditized. It's not a commodity, you cannot sell culture. But of course, they need a time when you need to sustain this art. So that's where the money comes in. There are times, you get discouraged. There are days when it rains heavily, you have money. There are days when you don't sell and you get so low. Start asking yourself, is what I'm creating? So you get a bit of some frustration. There's no one coming to buy your work.
This job is not like in the office where I maybe stop when I reach 50 or this one I have to go until I'm 80 because you find other people like they are 50 and that's when they are starting their art career. So it's up to until I'm on the yes, it's a business. There's money involved and exchange involved. So for me it's business. Strictly business. I was scared to quit my job. But when I just stopped and few days along the line, I was invited to show in an exhibition called Visual Voices in the German Embassy building. And I quite sold all my paintings, bigger paintings. So I quite started at a good note. So the highest painting I've sold was about how much? 30,000 kwacha. It's about, I think, $2,000, but it was 30,000 kwacha, and the lowest I've sold is about 2,000 kwacha.
And the smallest painting or medium paintings, I look forward to like when I finish it, I get something like 4,000, you know, 4,000 kwacha. In terms of a small painting. Then the bigger paintings, I'm looking forward to, I've made like 30,000 for bigger paintings, 30,000, and now I'm looking forward to making like 50,000 painting and up to even 150 for a painting. Yeah, you know, when you are frustrated, sometimes you think of quitting. But when you walk around, you say, if I quit, what else am I going to do? So you just carry on with the painting.
It's a business. There's exchange of money. Even selling fritters is a business. There's exchange of money. But it's just because we Zambians are so Zambianized that we feel we are forward when we look down on someone who's selling fritters per road. Like, what are they doing? But in one or another, that person is playing a very important role in the economy. So the same applies to visual arts or any art form. So long as there's an exchange of money and someone is paying for my labor, then there is that importance. Like I said, I take care of myself. I pay my bills through arts. So, quitters never quit. When I was young, I loved that song. Yeah, but for me, I don't believe in giving up. Of course, not all days are are merry, some days are blue. But I try by all means to encourage myself that even a farmer, when they grow their crops, not all the crops materialize into money. Sometimes they have losses where things go bad. So even when I'm painting or whatever, if it's sculpture or whatever I'm doing, I should have that space in my mind that it might not sell. But I should be able to find means to make it work. So now we have other means. Apart from the physical gallery spaces, there are online platforms where people are selling via online platforms, websites, Instagram, Facebook, name them. So it has to be a serious tamanga in all those fields.
We traveled to the YY Art Studio and Gallery in Livingstone, run by Agnes Yombe and her husband Lawrence Yombe. Together with their artistic children, the Yombe family have built YY into something beyond just an art gallery and studio.
My name is Lawrence Yombe. I was born 2 years ago in Karulushi on the Copper Belt.
My name is Agnes Yombe, a mixed media visual artist based in Livingstone, Zambia, where we run YY Art Studio and Gallery, and also in Livingstone district where we run YY Magazine-Judith.
In addition to showcasing paintings by different artists and themselves, YY Art Studio and Gallery also uses art as a means of preserving cultural and traditional teachings relating to the Mbusa teachings, the teachings a man and a woman undertake before getting married. Whilst this may come as a surprise to some artists, to others it is a form of artistic style.
I'm into expressionism, I can say so. The idea is for me to just bring out the emotions, what I'm feeling at that moment. So I find that my artworks mostly don't have a well-defined, let's say, figures and so on. Like the faces will just be flat, but you can feel that there's a face, there's a head, there's a nose.
When I was just beginning, I started with realistic. I started learning realistic, and for me, I find it very, I wouldn't say boring, but because it's just like you get a photo and you put it direct on the painting. So I was more interested into abstract. When I was beginning my career, my beginning of my career, I met David Makala, who introduced me to a bit of abstract work. So he does a lot of abstract work. So I decided to major. So most of my works are semi-abstract. You'll be able to see that there's a figure, but also it's not how the figure is. Like for example, the skin of the person, I put a lot of layers of paint, but that's not how it is. It's kind of abstract and also realistic at the same time. Currently, I've been doing a lot of paintings on canvas, acrylic paints. I haven't been using oil, but recently I tried oil. It takes very long to dry and I'm very impatient. So I think acrylic works better for me. All my mediums, I use acrylics on canvas and also acrylics on paper. Yeah.
This is called a motif. If it's a kind of impressionism, where you use different motifs, the spiral, the square, inner line squares, and contour, and swells, and so on,
So I do almost everything in visual arts. I paint, I sculpt. I used to do a lot of sculpture. Actually, when I was in college, I thought I was a sculptor only, because painting was a new thing and I didn't do much of painting. But I'm able to paint, I'm able to draw, I'm able to do installation art. I do video now, I do photography and collage. So everything visual arts I'm able to do.
In creativity, comfort zones are discouraged as they tend to stifle the mind. Pushing creative boundaries is always welcomed. But sometimes pushing creative boundaries does not always produce the results one hopes for.
Of course, criticism will always be there. You know, even when just walking out without being an artist, someone will go like, Abanabo. So even my work and I produce it, I personally, I'm open to say, some people will like my work, some people won't like my work. But I shouldn't stay in that box. Sometimes the things that they're saying might be the things which will help you even develop the work better. So I love to hear people's opinion about my work. I'm one of those open-minded people who sometimes I specifically ask certain established artists, like, can you comment about my practice? What do you think? Where am I supposed to be improving? Because I feel that's the way I'm going to be a better artist. So I'm very open to criticism. If you don't like it, there should be a reason. I think I only have a problem with someone criticizing work without breaking it down.
The best thing is all I have heard about my aunt. And the worst is that which I said it went missing. But the best thing is when people say you are highly talented. It sounds so good. Even if they don't purchase, all you need is a recommendation.
I want to mention the name of the galleries. They invited me, so when I took some of my works there, and they were rejected, and I was told I don't know how to mix colors. I'm using a lot of colors, raw colors, and stuff like that. So that's the one of the worst things I've ever heard of my paintings. But you know, people are different, and that's their side. Some people like what I paint, some they don't like what I paint. So the best thing that I've ever heard about my painting is that most people paint small paintings. For me, when I just began, I began with bigger paintings, like very big paintings. So people appreciate me for doing big as well, because it's not easy to do a very big painting and finish it at the same time.
I don't know if I can say it's the worst or the best, but we take it as a critique. So when someone says something negative about you, they're just trying to express themselves and critiquing you. If someone says something good, we take it up. We tend to get used to critics, because not everyone is going to say something positive about you. So for an artist, you need to reach a certain level where you should be ready to be criticized. And once you're being criticized, means maybe you're making a statement. Maybe your work is now engaging with the audience. Why are they talking about it?
In the case of YY Art Studio and Gallery, pushing boundaries has been done by engaging the community and through the art studio offering classes to the general public. In Zambia, being in charge of future artists has its own challenges. So does running a successful studio and gallery. But someone has to do it regardless of the challenges faced and how much money comes from it. However, challenges are soft amounts to nothing. If galleries like the YY and Smallworks and Art Gallery do not have a continued supply of artists bringing in paintings to be displayed. From the artist's point, support and peers play a crucial role in inspiring, motivating, and even providing healthy competition to keep producing visual masterpieces. Sometimes this comes in the form of having a favorite painting or favorite artist.
Yeah, there is one. It's sold though. I tried to experiment on it. I called it Protesters. I liked the style. It all came about the little protester, the greatest road campus university.
I think one of my earliest works to be exhibited was in my Genesis. it was collected by Jamaica. So it kind of grounded my stay in visual arts. I didn't really know who had bought it anyway, but the other senior artists were amazed that my work had been collected. So the potential started being seen from one of my first exhibitions where I ever showed my work. But I would say there's a work which I did in 2017, an installation in Cape Town and Greatmore Studios. That kind of moved me to a certain level in terms of conceptual based work, and it pushed me to go and do a residency at Gasways in London, and also I went to Seychelles because of the same way to go and showcase my performance work.
My favorite painting is the one that I use words. When you are closer, you see words. But when you go further, that's when you see the actual the painting which was entitled Prayer, Lord's Prayer. When you are near, you see the words, Our Father, who art in heaven. When you go further, you start seeing the image.
Because most of my works, when I paint, when I finish them, they're different, and sometimes I feel like I'm learning all the time. Because some of my paintings, the way I painted it, I can't paint another one exactly the way I painted it. So it's the process.
You can plan to have copies of Da Vinci's Mona Lisa or The Scream by Edvard Munch hanging from the walls in your house, or even be trained in classical art or paint street art. But plans amount to nothing and remain dreams if not supported by your initial vision.
In 5 years' time, I hope to see myself out there. I'm already an international artist. I want to be big, I want to win competitions, I want to participate in biennales, I want to participate in African museums. I just want to be out there. So in 5 years' time, I want to do a solo exhibition outside the countries.
I'd love to set up my own studio. That studio should be an institution where people can come and do research, not just really admiring art. They need to interact with the art, and after interacting with the art, they need to learn something, try and see how I can make my art relevant to the social well-being of the community. Yeah, if we're done, that would be a bonus for me.
For me, I scale my practice according to the international market and the international level. So in the next 5 years, I hope to show my work in important visual art spaces around the globe. But also, I'm hoping to get representation from established galleries abroad again. And maybe one day go to the Venice Biennale, and that's the World Cup for visual art.
In 5 years' time, I really want to build a place in which people can call like a museum, where there's a wall fence and there's a door. People enter inside. They come as a family and come and enjoy viewing the paintings of different Zambian artists and upcoming, and my own masterpieces.
Dreams make visions, and visions make plans. All this comes about as a result of how you see yourself and how that affects the work you do. Whether painting a picture or owning a gallery. Otherwise, what is the point of living your life defined by what others think of you?
I make art.
I'm a star.
As an artist, I am a great student of arts.
I would say Mlenga is a visual artist who believes in history, believes in blackness, believes in the power of a woman, and believes in a bright future for everyone.
For visual artists, we have the Visual Arts Council, which is a body for artists where we meet and talk. We usually organize talks. Just last week, Saturday, we had a talk at there's a new art center in Chandoba where we try and critique, so to say, and digest some of the topics. Okay, that the topic we were looking at was culture, and we have a culture in Zambia. Which one is our culture in Zambia? Though at the moment we can say we're going through a lot of challenges, but from the time Visual Council was formed 33 plus years ago, I think it has really worked hard to make sure that the arts are put on the map, yes, and see to it that we get to be appreciated as artists, and art to be part of the socio-economical growth of the nation. We're still working hard. We want to see how we can penetrate the global art sector, okay? Yeah, so that we can, as Zambians, we can also be seen to playing a role in the arts, in the global art sector. The future of Zambian art is great, but there's something that we need to do like yesterday. The arts have reached a level where they need to go to the next stage.
I think the future of Zambian art is rising. It's going up there, because if you see, for example, we talk about street art. Most people were not very familiar with street art, and now you will find a lot of people hiring artists doing artworks on their walls. And also, when you talk about galleries, back in the days, we used to have few, I think 1 or 2, but now you find people creating these buildings just to show exhibitions. It's growing, and we have a lot of young, promising artists.
The future of Zambian art is going to be great, because I see a lot of emerging young artists. Zambia will be called a place of arts, from the performing, the audio, the visual arts, everything, book writing, poems, I see a great talent coming.
Zambia is a raw gem in terms of visual arts, and the future is very brighter for even the younger people who are coming behind me. All we have to do is keep pushing, work, but also speak. Artists most of the times are in our own corners and they're complaining. You want the government to give you incentives, or you want the private sector to give you incentives, but then never see the artists. The artists are in shadow. So it's high time we came out in the open and use platforms like this to talk about what we do and how important it is to our heritage and our culture.
Well, we wonder what those 1,000 words the Zambian art industry is churning out, and who will listen, pay attention. Whatever the future holds for Zambian art is something we all have to wait to see. Whether the future is bright and profitable, or bleak and barely breaking even. What is your take on the future of Zambian art? We will leave that up to you to decide.